Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Zohar class. The parashat of this week is Shlach Lecha, sent for you. This is the famous portion of the Torah that Bnei Israel, after 2 years leaving Egypt, they arrive to the border of Israel. And they decided to send spies to figure out or find out what's going on in Israel before they're going to enter it. And we know the story. They come back with bad news. They slander, they talk Lashon Hara about Israel. And because of this Lashon Hara, the slander and the evil speech, instead of entering Israel, it takes them another 38 years, wander in the desert and enter after 4 years. So it's not like it's a punishment, but they were not worthy. They didn't have the vessel. They were not capable to handle entering Israel. So they had to work on themselves even more. Last year, I give a good example. In a way, the Creator Hashem was testing the Bnei Israel, see if they are ready, to receive such a amazing blessing. We always ask for more blessing, right? But we have to be worthy of it. We have to be able to handle it. Last week, we talked about we have to have the vessel in order to receive the light. So Bnei Israel were not ready to enter such a wonderful place, heaven on earth. So they had to learn more and put the effort to be worthy. So what did it have to do with us? And who are these 10 people that bring bad news? 12 people sent to Israel, but 10 bring bad news and 2 bring good news. And what did it have to do with us? And Israel didn't call Israel at the time. It's called Eretz Canaan. And after the Bnei Israel entered Israel, then it's called Israel. So Canaan, is a Hebrew code for wrong desires, for selfish desires, for negative desires. Israel means that, it's a positive desire, it's a sharing desire, is love and happiness desire. So in order for Bnei Israel to earn this land, in order to receive this blessing, in order for us to receive blessing, to receive shefa, fulfillment, healing, relationships, good fortune, good business, we have to fix our desires. So this land has a lot of power. This land can bring peace to the whole world, and God forbid, this land can also bring war to the whole world. So it's all depend to our desires. So Hashem give us this body, give us this life. We can do so much good with it, and God forbid, chas v'chalila, we can also do bad with it. So the stories of the Torah are wonderful, but we want to learn what it have to do with us. So Hashem give us this body, give us this life, give us our health, give us finances, give us family, give us house, give us hands and legs, and we are capable of doing so much. But it depends to our desire what we're going to do with everything we have. We have so much, but our desire is going to dictate toward what direction we are going. We can take ourselves, our body, our family, our household to great success if we have the right desires. Chas v'shalom, if we have the wrong desires, we can take ourselves and our family to destructions, right? So, yeah, Hashem giving me this body, I can have a desire to wake up in the morning and go and help the world by my business, provide, guide my family, my children, help my students, or I can have a desire to go to gambling or have an addiction and just be selfish. So one of the keys to success is to have the right desires. And we live in such a difficult city because everything we see we desire, right? Everything we see we desire. Our children, our spouses, our friends, our family, we see and we desire, you know. Even if I'm gonna work on myself all day and night, the moment I step out, I see luxury and I see fancy. So our desires change to different ones. So the key for success and receiving blessing is to change the desire to correct ones. Of course, the good, we all know about the good and bad desires. There is no need to mention it here. But it's good to check ourselves, to look into ourselves. Is my desires are correct? Is my desires are kedusha? Is my desires benefit me, my body, my family, my children, my friends, my community? Or my desires are totally selfish, and any selfish desires, end into destruction. I saw a very interesting movie 2 nights ago. It was about World War II. I don't want to say his name. The leader of the Nazi party. It was the end of the World War II. He lost the war. The Russians were attacking, and the Americans were attacking, and the English were attacking, and the whole Nazi party, they were surrounded in Berlin, in one city. They lost the whole Europe. They lost the whole country. They were all like surrounded in one city, Berlin. So all the advisors of this head of the Nazi party, this dictator, came to him. He said, listen, we lost the war. There is nothing else to fight for. And he says, no, I want to keep fighting. So his advisor says there's millions of people still living in this city. Women, children, old men. If they're going to keep bombarding, they're going to kill everybody in this city. He says, no, my ego, won't allow me to surrender. My ego won't allow me to run away. I'm going to fight till the end, and I don't care about all these millions going to die. So we knew how horrible this dictator was, but now we understand even how much more horrible he was. Until the last moment, his ego didn't allow him to change his desires. I lost the war, I surrender, I give up. Let me save my people. Let me save the people living in the city. He says, no, I don't care about all these millions. Let them die. Because his ego didn't allow him to change his desires. So a wrong desire is very destructive. It's not an accident. I saw the movie. It's 100% related to this parasha. So wrong desires, if you're looking to satisfy our ego by luxury, by fame, by respect, by position, by looks, so it's all fake. This is the wrong desires. We see like celebrities, families, they have wrong desires and become very destructive. But if our desire is to have kedusha, to have a Jewish home, to have a healthy home, happy home, appreciate, see the cup full all the time, There is so much we're going to talk about stress and trauma, so I don't want to talk ahead of myself. Remember I mentioned about soulmates. If young people looking for soulmate, Arya Kadosh, not me, says the only secret to find your soulmate is to say, I want to have a Jewish home. You know, if your desire is to have a rich soulmate, fancy, good looking, you know, famous, full of respect, not necessarily you're going to find your soulmate. But if you have a Kedusha desire that I want to start a Jewish home, then you're gonna see your soulmate. All these wrong desires are temporary; they don't last. But the right desires, they last forever, and it's keep growing and becoming stronger. If a person has I don't know, addictions and sexual desires, is going to destroy his family for a temporary pleasure. So we are learning that wrong desires bring us to destruction, and good desires bring us to fulfillment, happiness. So these 10 people that they bring the bad news, guess who they are? They are the reincarnation of the 10 brothers of Yosef, right? They were jealous, they were in competition all the time. Father loves him, he doesn't love us. And we all know the story of Yosef. Those 10 head of the tribes that brought the bad news are the incarnation of Yosef brothers. They didn't learn the lesson. And the same people, because of the Lashon Hara they spoke, they also brought the destruction to the first temple and the second temple of Israel. Again, I'm sure the same people cause it, in that because they have positions at the time. Why we lost the first and second temple? Why we lost the first and second Israeli country? Again, selfish desires, hatred for no reason. You know, they want to make money out of spirituality, and they were hating each other. So wrong desires. Wrong desires, because of wrong desires, we can lose the most precious things we have. Our health, our happiness, our joy, our relationship, our business, our money. We are supposed to grow, but in a healthy way, in a Kedusha way, but not to have a wrong desires. So the whole portion is talking about the wrong desires that the brothers of Yosef had, and then it's continuing the generations, and then even now. So another secret that Ari want to give us is that if we have wrong desires, we pass it on to our children too, right? If I'm constantly looking for luxury and fame and respect, then you know our children going to be the same way, our grandchildren is going to be the same way. So Chas v'shalom, we don't want destruction for our children and grandchildren. We want blessing for them. So if we set our desires correct, then we pass it on to the next generation. This is so far, we're going to talk about the parasha. We're going to move on to talking about stress, metach in Hebrew, stress and tense. What is the source of stress? We know in America, they said stress kills, right? So we want to learn what is the source of stress, where is the stress is coming from, and how we can deal with stress. Oh, by the way, before we move on to stress, let's go back to the parasha because we need to read the Zohar. I choose a very, very amazing section, especially for ladies, because majority of our members in the class and in the temple is ladies, and it's again, it's talking about desires, but the woman, have a bigger responsibility to set the desires right in the house. We know that men are providers and the women are the educators. So even the ladies, have the power, or they should put the right desires, to the household, to everybody. What is the right desire? Woman is the one that brings kedusha to the house. Woman that brings peace and shalom to the house. Wrong desire is destructive, and a good desire brings success to the family. So this portion talks about if the ladies have the right desire, they can elevate their soul and consciousness to a much higher level. There's this section of the Zohar talk about there is two special time that the ladies, can elevate the consciousness of the house, of themselves, to the higher level. One is Shabbat and one is Rosh Chodesh. We always announce Rosh Chodesh. Why we announce Rosh Chodesh? Because it's a gate to the heavens. By the way, this Monday, Tuesday, we have Rosh Chodesh Tammuz. I can't believe Gemini is over. So Monday, Tuesday, Rosh Chodesh Tammuz. So he says on Shabbat, on Erev Shabbat and Erev Rosh Chodesh, when the ladies, light the candle with the right desires, they can elevate their consciousness. They can bring blessing and barakah to the house, to the whole family. This is the time to ask. This is the time to have the right desires. But of course, all the desire, kedusha, all the holy desires. So this section says, the woman and Erev Shabbat and Erev Rosh Chodesh, they have a chance to go to the higher academies. They can go to Aharon HaKohen Academy. They can go to Moshe Rabbeinu Academy. But it talks about this section about the woman going to Miriam's academy. I'm going to explain what academy means. And with Miriam, they can go to Metatron Academy. And the highest level is to Hashem's academy. Can you believe Hashem? Yeshiva in Hebrew said Yeshiva. Hashem has his own academy. What is zuchut to go to his academy? Academy, we have two ways to go to these academies. One is through dreaming when we are sleeping, our neshama ascends to the higher level. Of course, if all day our hands is into kedusha, so at night time when we sleep, our neshama are going to go to their academies. But if all day we are into fighting and hating and argument, chas v'chalila, no chance to go to those higher academies. Or during the day when we are studying, when we are taking a moment, when we are connecting to Kedusha, when we are connecting to a tefillah, when we are connecting to the Creator, all of a sudden we feel good, we feel good. Ideas come to our head. We feel happy, we feel loved, we feel protected because we reach those academies, in a spiritual way. So, and what is the key? What is the key to enter Hashem's academy? We can go to Miriam Academy by doing mitzvot, by keeping kedusha in our house. If we study Torah, we can go to Moshe Academy. He can teach us even more. And it's very interesting. At the beginning, when you start studying Kabbalah, they take you to this academy right away, because even though if you are not worthy of it, because they want to show the potential. But what is the key to enter Hashem's academy? Is the Zohar talks about it. It says Adonai Hu Elohim. Adonai with this Yud K Vav K, the the God of mercy and kindness and rachamim, hu ha-Elohim. He is that bringing us the judgments. He is the one that brings us all the hardship. He is the one that brings us the challenges and the obstacles in our life. So one more time, the key to enter Hashem's academy is to recognize everything that happened to in our life. If it's painful, if it's hard, if it's challenging, if I think I have lacks, if there is a health challenge, if there is a financial challenge, if there's a relationship challenge, it's all Adonai behind it. It's all the hand of Hashem is in it. So the key to enter the highest academy is to recognize that Yud Kei Vav Kei Adonai Hu Ha-Elohim. This is what we keep pronouncing on Yom Kippur. But all the challenges, all the obstacles, all the difficulties, all the harsh, anything I go through that I don't like, is Hashem is behind it. If I can recognize that, then I have the zuchut to enter Hashem's academy. I know it sounds good, and tomorrow we're going to have a challenge. Tomorrow we're going to have a flat tire. I hope not. Then we're going to forget about the class and we're going to be all upset. But if you're going to remember that I learned in a Zohar class, Adonai Hu Elohim, even this challenge, Hashem's hand is behind it. If I see it, then, all the pain, all the hardship goes away, all the stress goes away. Imagine any hardship you have during the day, I see Hashem behind it. It would be a beautiful day, right? So let's read the Zohar. We are in a book number 18, page 73, chapter 116. It's a little bit long, but we're going to read it with this kavanah that I'm going to repeat it. Adonai Hu Elohim. Whatever challenge, obstacle, difficulties, to see Hashem's hand behind it. Don't cross your hand, don't cross your legs. And I truly wish this consciousness for all of us. And tomorrow night is Shabbat, and Monday is Rosh Chodesh. All the ladies, pronounce this when you are lighting the candle. Adonai Hu Elohim, and mean it, and recognize it. That I accept all the challenges because it's coming from Adonai, from Yud Kei Vav Kei. Kol nashin zakain dahai dara atan leMiriam uf hacha betnai zminin ukedin salekin balahu betumurat ashan umidbarat da וההוא יומה, אקראי יומה דהילולה, נשים בלילי שבתות ובלילי ימים טובים, ולהו אטען לגבי מרים, ויודעין השתלטה בידיעה דאמרי דעלמה, זכאי דרדה, מכל דרין דעלמה, נפקי מטיבתה דמשה, ופרחי לגבי מטיבתה, דרקיעה ואינון דתחזקין, פרחי לגבי מטיבתה, עלהו דרה כתיב, אשרי העם שככה לו, אשרי העם שאדוני הוא אלוהיו. All the virtuous women of that generation, meaning the desert generation, also come to Miriam in those times, and they all ascended to her like smoke columns from the desert. That day it's referred to the feast day. On Shabbat and holiday evening, all the women come to Miriam and engage in trying to understand the world's master praises in this generation. That is the generation of the desert, from all the rest of the generation in the world. They left the yeshiva of Moshe and flew to the yeshiva of Firminen, which is the yeshiva of Matatron. Those that are worthy that fly to the highest yeshiva, which is the yeshiva of the Holy One, blessed be He. About that generation, it is written, happy is that people that is such a case. Happy is that people whose Elohim is Hashem. So this is how far we're going to talk about the Torah portion. We're going to move on to stress and tense. I don't have a board yet, but I'm going to get a board soon. So we're going to be easier for us. So I can show you on my, I can show you the wisdom we're talking about. If this is our days, the central line is the average day. We have high points and we have low points. The high points is like when I'm excited, when I have an appointment, when I have a class, I'm hyper, I'm excited, something's waiting for me. And the low point is maybe I heard the bad news, maybe I don't feel good, maybe, I just woke up in the wrong side. So this is okay. This is the average person. This is what we go through. What happened when we have a trauma? When we have a trauma, like God forbid, there is an accident or there is bad news or a doctor give us a bad news. This is what happened to us. The trauma caused us to change the line to a new line. Something happened, an accident, a bad news, something a doctor says. So I'm not in this peaceful level anymore. I'm going to the whole new level. And that new level is the source of the stress, is source of attention. And obviously it's not healthy. So some behavior that relate to this is that we start spending money like crazy, or we become perfectionists, or we become super clean freak. That's not normal. We have strange desires. We think we are smart. We think we know it all. So we are in a hyper mood all the time, and because of the trauma, cause us to go to the whole different level. We try to tell people what to do. The ego kicks in. So this is not a normal situation and another normal behavior. It's an extremely hyper situation. And or the other case, it could be that we drop to a much lower level. That it could be sadness, depression, it kapsud in Hebrew means that we shrink ourselves. We don't want to communicate. We don't want to go out. We want to disconnect ourselves. It's not good. We become frozen. We don't move anymore. We are not active and we don't move. So a trauma can cause us one of those two things. Either we become extremely hyper. That's why people using drugs, they start chain smoking, they pick addictions, or it can drop to a lower depression and sadness and disconnection and freezing mode. So either way, the cause of it is a trauma. And we're going to learn tonight, how can I bring myself back to the normal line? Or how can I elevate myself to the normal line? And stress kills. If either way, chas v'shalom, if somebody stay up here or down here, the end is very, is an element, they're going to die. So we have to bring ourselves, lower the stress level and go back to this level. What causes, what kind of a trauma can cause this? There is a few of them. I'm going to mention them. Number one is body. If chas v'shalom we have a health challenge and the doctor give us some news, so right away we go to a trauma mode, either up or down. it's very interesting that an emergency room can have the best equipment in the world, but none of them can deal with stress. None of them can deal with tense. The doctors are not trained to reduce our stress level. So we are concerned about our body, we're concerned about our health, and we think that medicine and the medical facility is the only solution, but it's not. Our body is not a car that you take it to a mechanic shop and they're going to change the oil. Our body is not a refrigerator, you're going to put some gas in it. Our body has a soul. The soul can heal the body. The soul should heal the body. Our body doesn't need a mechanic. Our body doesn't need all these chemicals that brings profit and addiction and side effects to our body. The key appointment to heal our body is our soul. We are not machines, we have a soul. And the most important job of the soul is to keep the body healthy. So when we feed this soul, when we take care of this soul is going to heal the body. You know it, I don't have to tell you. What heal the soul? Happiness, joy, pleasure, love, unity, right? That's Kedusha, Torah, Shabbat, Chagim. That's feed our soul. You hug your children, that's feed your soul. And at the same time, what disconnect us from the soul? All the negative characters, anger, hate, jealousy, controlling, ego, right? So our body has the power to heal it. Our soul has the power to heal the body. But somehow, we don't give it a chance. We run into doctors and medicines. There's a funny, it's not so funny. He says there was a guy that taking 15 pills every morning. So they ask him, why are you taking the 15 pills every morning? He says, I take the first one, I have to take it because, I don't know, I have a high blood pressure, but it has a side effect. So I have to take the second one in order to diffuse the side effect of the first one. Then why are you taking the third one? Oh, the second one has a side effect also. So I have to take the third one to diffuse It's a never-ending story. There is no medicine in this world except the herbal ones that doesn't have a side effect. And we know the pharmaceutical companies, they are the richest companies in the world. So, of course, we have to follow the doctor's prescriptions, but we have to give a chance to our soul to heal the body. I give you example. It's a true example. Maybe it sounds funny, but maybe I experienced it to share it with you guys. When I go to my yearly checkup, the doctor, check my blood pressure, and he says, "Oh, it's a little bit high." I said, "Doctor, can you do it again? And give me a minute and do it again." He says, "Okay." Then I close my eyes. I think about my Zohar classes. I think about my Kenisa. I think about my Torah. I think about my family. I think about my children. I think about my blessings. I bring the Yud Kei Vav Kei to my forehead. And maybe I say the Ana Bekoach, and then I tell him not take the blood pressure. You take the blood pressure. He says, "I think my machine is broken." Yeah, it can change so much within 1 minute. I told him that's the power of our soul. That's the power of our soul. Our soul is the biggest healer. He couldn't believe his machine changed so much. And my good friend, Kami, he told me about his dad is in a hospital. He says each morning he go to visit his dad, all the numbers are red. And he put the tefillin on him, and then all the numbers become green. And he has a Chinese doctor. The Chinese doctor says, "Can I borrow your tefillin? Can I use it myself and for my other patient? He says, you guys have a better instrument than me. So our soul is the biggest healer for our body. So that's how we can diffuse the stress. We are learning how to diffuse the stress and the tension of, what's going to happen to our body. We are getting old, maybe this, maybe that. No, as long as we take care of our soul is going to take care of our body. The second point that causes stress is the emotional stress. We are not living in the cave. We live with people. We live in a city. We interact with many people every day, and people, they step on our toes. They hurt us. Emotionally they hurt us. And obviously, the first thing we want to do is we want to hurt them back. You came to me with attitude, I'm going to give you attitude. You yell at me, I'm going to yell at you back. You curse me, I'm going to curse you back. So the Kabbalah says there is a strong word in Hebrew, nevela. Nevela is like a horrible, it's like a dead animal. It says if somebody comes with you with a dead animal stink, you don't have to bring yourself to his level or her level. You keep yourself out, you control your emotions. Doesn't matter what people say to us. I know it's extremely difficult. I didn't master it yet, but we have to learn, control our emotion. Other people don't give us stress. We give stress to ourselves. Our reaction and our reactive behavior causes stress. So it doesn't matter what they throw at us, we keep our emotions level. The next one is money. Money brings a lot of stress, a lot of tense and tension. I'm just going to go to the point. It's stupid to get sick over money. I don't want to use a harsher word, but it's stupid to lose our health for money. There is so many sentences in spirituality about money, that all the money is belong to Hashem. We are just managing it. We come with nothing and we leave with nothing. All the money belong to Hashem, and we are just managing it. Who's rich? That's a famous sentence in Pirkei Avot. Whoever is happy with his share. A person, we know people that are happy with $100 than some people that they have millions, right? So if you're happy with your share, that you're rich. There's a story. It's not a story. It happened to my teacher student. He says he got a bill from IRS. He says, I don't know, you have to pay $100,000. He says, okay, can I make payments? Yeah, you can make payment. $500 a month. So each time he was writing the check for 500, he was cursing, he was angry, he was upset, he was full of hate and anger and stress, and he make himself miserable and the family miserable. And he tells his wife, don't worry, I'm going to make the payment. I'm going to leave you. He said, I'm going to leave you with no debt. Guess what happened? After the last payment, he died. He passed away. Because he said it. He says, I'm going to leave you with no debt. So imagine you have to make a payment every month. Next time I'm going to receive my property tax, I'm going to laugh about it because this is something that bothers me all the time. So, I mean, you have to pay it, you have to pay it. Why are you going to be angry about it? Do it with blessing, do it with baracha, Baruch Hashem, I have it and I pay for it. So, it's money is something that is out of our control. It's one of the decisions that Hashem make for us every Rosh Hashanah. If we have a good use for it, if we want to use it for the right reasons, it come to us. I don't want to get into it. There is some reason people get it and some people they don't get it. But I'm going to repeat this sentence. It's stupid to lose our health over luxury, money, fancy. I always say it, the most pleasure in the world comes from free stuff. Walking in a park, walking on the beach, having a good conversation with your friends, hugging your children. Shabbat is for free. But how much joy we have on Shabbat, how much pleasure we have on Shabbat. So it's stupid to lose our health. It's stupid to die for money. The next thing is environment and surrounding. Environment and surrounding, bring us also stress. Yeah, some countries are stressful, some countries are not. Some cities are more stressful, some are not. We go back to spirituality. We have a job to do. There is a reason Hashem put me in this city and this country. What is my job? What is my responsibility? There is always a question that why Jews are not in Israel, why we are scattered all around the world. Because we're supposed to make the world a better place. It's not out of our selfish desires. We provide and we give jobs, we take care, we set a good example. So we shouldn't allow the environment and our surrounding give us stress. We have to concentrate on our job, concentrate on our goals. Another thing that bring us a lot of stress is sexuality versus family. I mean, at this point in our life, maybe we don't have this issue, but maybe some do. But maybe it's more for the younger people. There is a great example. It says maybe a good-looking, young, happening person at a young age has a lot of girlfriends, a lot of boyfriends, but most of the times those people end up being alone. Maybe you've seen it. The one that party the most, the one that active the most, the one that has the most friends, at the older age, they end up alone. But if you choose to have a family, if you choose to create a family, we're never going to be lonely. We don't have that stress. A single person always has this stress, this tension, right? But if you marry your soulmate, if you have a family, that tension is gone. So that's why in Judaism, the age of marriage is 20, because they want to avoid you those stress and tension. Going back to money, there is a very nice point. In Hebrew, there is two words for poor. Ani means poor, like somebody that was born poor and is always poor. And there is a word evion. Evion is that means he became poor. He became poor. So the question is, which one is worse? The guy that was always poor or the one that became poor? So the Kabbalah says the one that became poor is much worse, is 1,000 times more worse than being poor. So it gives you a direction in life. Are we just want to chasing money? If you want to keep borrowing money and buying more bigger and fancier and shinier, and as v'shalom, we can lose it. what would make you happy? Buying something cash or buying something that you have to make payment more expensive, but you have to make payment for the next 30 years? You remember the payment guy that he ended up dying? So if you can buy something small, something humble for cash, is much better than buying something fancy and luxury and huge and making payments. Because God forbid, if you lose something, it's much more painful than being poor. One of the biggest prayers is, Hashem, never take away something that I have already. Because losing something you have is horrible. So if we constantly chasing, money and wealth, and it's chas v'shalom, if you lose it, then it's a huge disaster. Another point for reducing stress and tension is called creativity. Creativity heals. He says, you have to, we all have a gift. Somebody play violin, right? Somebody likes violin. Maybe he has a stressful day at work. He come home and play violin. He comes down. He unwind himself. Some people like cooking, right? Some people like maybe knitting. Some people like to go to the gym. So in order to lower our stress level, we all have a trauma. You cannot say we didn't have a trauma. The fact we left Iran, that's a trauma, So we all have a trauma and we carry the stress with us. So in order to lower it, we have to find the gift we have. And then, use that gift to bring our stress level lower. This class is wonderful for me. Spirituality. I just give you a great example with the blood pressure, with the doctor. Spirituality bring down the stress level. Being connected to the Creator, being connected to the Hebrew alphabet, being connected to the Zohar, to the Torah. Spirituality teach you that you're not alone. Being alone causes stress and tension if we feel like we are alone. But spirituality, give us this umbrella, bring us this supervision. We feel protected. Intuition. The last one is intuition. Intuition means that God give us, but we call it gut feeling. We all have a gut feeling. We all have an intuition. So we have to make sure this intuition take us to the right places. If my intuition take me to the wrong places, and by now we know what's right and wrong, then it's gonna elevate the stress level. But if my intuition take me to the right places, then my stress level is gonna come down. There's a lot of, let me give you a simple example that came to my mind. I go to Shabbat to my temple. After the services, I see two groups of people talking. Maybe one group is talking Lashon Hara, and one group is talking about planning a next event for the temple. So obviously, Lashon Hara is very attractive. If my intuition take me to the Lashon Hara conversation, it's wrong. Then my stress level is gonna get even higher. Even if it's very attractive, even if my gut feeling telling me to go there. But if I allow my intuition take me to the good conversation, how we can make the temple a better place, that's gonna lower the stress level. So we all attracted, we all have intuition to certain places and people. We have to make sure it's to the right places and to the right people. There is like three other things that few others benefit our stress level. I hope we are not passing the time. In Hebrew, they call it hitbodedut and hitbonenut. It's like a self-trance. Hitbodedut means, you need to be by yourself once in a while. It's good to be by yourself once in a while, because you get away from the doctors and the environment and the people and the emotions and all the noise, all the statics in the world. It's good to be alone once in a while, and you check mark. You go for a walk on the beach, you go walk, you go hiking. So it's good to be alone. So it brings down your stress level, and you decide better what to do next. So it's to be alone, not just to be alone and don't do nothing. You have to be alone and look into yourself, look into your life. What can bring your stress level down? Recognize the good. This is a simple sentence, but we don't look at it. There's so much goodness in our life. Always see the cup full. Look at the goodness in your life. Be grateful. Appreciate the goodness in your life. And don't look at what's lacking or what's missing. Look at the good. The next point is pleasure, happiness, satisfaction from your situation or from where you are. Tomorrow morning, we all have to go to work, right? Doesn't matter if it's hard or if it's easy. Doesn't matter what is your job. It's matter the way you look at it. If you enjoy your work, if you love spending a time, if you're satisfied with the work you do, then that's going to bring down your stress level. If you keep saying, I hate my job, I hate my business, I don't like what I do, then that's going to raise the stress level. But the thing is, no matter what, you have to go through the day of work, right? So your perception, the way you approach your work is important, not what you do. So there's a very famous, good sentence. It says, either in Hebrew it sounds so good, either you overcome the stress or the stress overcome you. So if you overcome the stress, then you have an easy life, you have a good life. If the stress overcome you, as for shalom, it brings you diseases and death. So whatever we go through, we have to go through it anyway. I know Behnaz Jun, she's a master in this subject. I observe her. I have to go through it, but let me enjoy it at least, So that's going to bring down the stress level. The last one is productivity. We don't want a bread of shame in this life. Bread of shame bring us stress. A free lunch bring us stress. A free gift bring us stress subconsciously. Anything free bring us stress. We don't see it, but it does bring stress because there is an unbalance in this universe. There must be a balance in this universe. We cannot take things for free. The bread of shame has consequence. So if you're a taker, that brings us to stress. But if you're a giver, bring us peace. So it's not like what this world can give me. Just saying the sentence, I feel stressed. What can you give me? What this world can give me? Hashem, can you give me something? That's stressful. The moment you say, I give, the moment you says, what can I bring to this world? I feel in peace, right? Try it. So as a taker, the taking comes with stress, giving brings us peace. It says enjoy the stress. If you have stress, enjoy it. Enjoy it. nothing will happen, it shall pass. Enjoy the stress. If you hate the stress, that brings disease. I'm going to finish this section, with one sentence. I don't know how related it is to the class, but I heard it in my class. It says after 120, everybody should leave this world with dignity. With dignity. It's not right to leave this world lonely and lack of dignity, lack of integrity. So we have to keep our life, our body, our relationships, our consciousness, our heart, our mind, our brain, our body healthy and happy, joyful, full of pleasures. Nobody wants to leave this world being alone. Hate and anger and stress make us lonely. And diseases and pain bring us shame. Nobody wants to live, in shame. So, when is the time we want to live after 120 healthy and like dear 100 Khanum, I heard her voice this week, so I want to talk about it. No shame. She kept her integrity. We don't want to leave. Body destroyed, health destroyed, mind and consciousness and relationship destroyed. We don't want that. So we have to keep it all in peace and shalom and in good. And when is the time, we after 120, we live with integrity. Let's talk about blood pressure and we're going to be done. So in the past classes, we are learning about body parts and how we can keep every body part healthy. Last week we talked about heart, lungs, legs. This week we're going to talk about blood pressure. So what is the reason for blood pressure? What cause for blood pressure so we can avoid it? The number one is you feel powerless. You feel powerless. Whoever feels powerless, has a high blood pressure. It's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. There is no desires. Powerless. We are supposed to be the king. In Hebrew, it says Malchut. We are the Melech of our Malchut. We are the king of our kingdom. The king is full of power. First of all, we have to be the king of our own body. So feeling powerless brings blood pressure. Suppressed rage. We had a trauma with something happened in the past, but I still keep the rage inside. That brings blood pressure. Fear of being out of control. Fear of being out of control. Who has this fear? Somebody that wants to be in control all the time, right? Do we have any Scorpios in the class? So if you have a feeling that I'm controlling, I want to control, then that brings blood pressure, high blood pressure. If you feel like I don't want to control anybody, I allow everybody to run their own life and gifts. It says you may still be grieving due to the lack of love from your parents. There's a famous story that maybe parents are too busy. Maybe there was a sick person in the family, so all the love go to that sick person. So if we feel like our parents didn't love us enough, that can bring blood pressure. The solution is we are full of love. We are full of love already, right? We practice love. We are full of love. We don't have a lack. If you because the consequences of lack of love from our parents, we're always searching for love. So we already answered that. If we love our life, if we love our friends and family, then there shouldn't be lack of love. They said your parents might always be occupied with problems, financial problems, money problems, responsibility problems. So you feel like they didn't take care of you. But we're learning Kabbalah that everything meant to be, and we are the king right now. You may feel confused as how to go about finding happiness. This is a powerful sentence. You may feel confused as to how to go about finding happiness. Happiness, we talked about it a few minutes ago, for everybody is in a different way. Your gift makes you happy. Your desires, your right desires makes you happy. There was a time on Shabbat, I used to go to the beach before 20 years ago. And I thought that, wow, I'm such a happy guy. I trying to imitate other people. I'm going to the beach. I'm so happy. Now I wouldn't give up, one Shabbat in a temple for any pleasures in the world, because that's what makes me happy. And I know it makes me happy. I'm not imitating anybody else, but because I know this is what makes me happy. We see a lot of luxury and expensive stuff in the TV. We think by having those, that's going to make me happy too, not necessarily. So don't be confused about what makes you happy and stick to it. Feeling unsafe and unsecure bring us stress. The stress of being unsafe and unsecure. That's why we talk about spirituality and being connected to the Torah, Kabbalah, and Hashem. We have this, give us this security. We think that anger is a fighting force for us. We think anger is a winner game for us. No. Anger is the biggest poison. There is other ways to win in life. There is other ways to pass on the message. There is another powerful sentence. You do not like to feel obligated to others and value your independence and freedom. This one, it has a beautiful meaning. Like, we don't want to owe anybody. It's not good. It's okay to owe. It's okay to be obligated. It's okay. We cannot control everything and everybody. It's the same example of the man that, he every month he wrote a check. Not always, we can be free and not have obligation. If you have obligation, if it's okay. We're obligated as a parents to stay home, right? We want to go party, we want to go have a good time. But sometimes we have to stay home for our children, which is okay. Don't be mad about it. Don't be angry. Don't have stress over it. That's bring blood pressure. Betrayal trauma cause blood pressure. If we think that somebody betrayed us in a younger age, if we think, we've been betrayed, that brings high blood pressure. Again, we learn and we move on. We learn and we move on. And everybody's is the tools of Hashem to teach us something. It says you have made a negative association with love. Sometimes we think money buys love, right? This is a good English example. So money buy loves, or beauty brings love, or if you have the wrong association with love, that's bring blood pressure too. The last point is, you unconsciously create dramas that resemble similar stressful situations. I like to explain this one because we use it. We like to create fake drama in order to get attention, in order people listen to us, in order to be important, right? So we like to create drama. Why we like to pass on bad news? Look at the texts we receive. Out of 10, 9 of them are bad news. One of them is good news. Because by bad news, we get attention. Bad news, put us in the center of a conversation. So we have to be careful not to create a fake drama in order to get attention. That's how far we're going to take it. Thank you very much. I wish you guys Shabbat Shalom. Love you guys, and see you next week. Thank you very much. Toda Rabba.